What is the biggest problem that automated provisioning solves? And we are mostly talking about a DevOps context with this. In the 2019 State of Database DevOps report, in question 10, people were asked, in terms of doing a wider DevOps process, what would you see as the main driver? 30% of folks said the main driver is to increase speed of delivery of database changes, as Hamish said, to make it go faster. 17% said to free up developers' time for more added value work. And there's other surveys I've seen. Stripe sponsored a survey by Harris Poll where they interviewed, or surveyed rather, more than 1,000 C-level executives. And this one here, for that audience, this was a top concern for C-level executives to free up developer time for more value-added work. And in this poll, which was for a very wide audience, it came in second. So really, really important to a lot of groups of people. Number 3 is to reduce the risk of losing data. So this is definitely an opinion question, right? I'm asking you guys, and I'm going to go back to the previous slide, of the things on this list, which do you think is the most important driver? Do you think the most important thing is, do you agree with the audience? This is kind of a Family Feud style question, right? But you can see the answers first. Or do you think one of the ones lower down is actually the most important?
As a DBA, it's number 3. Yeah, it's given, right?
Yeah, it depends which hat I have on.
Yeah, exactly. And but I can definitely, for me, the biggest drive is the ability to facilitate the shift between away from working on a shared development environment to a more dedicated development environment where every developer has the ability to work on their own copy of the database, which increases efficiency dramatically. So I guess the second option there, the ability to free up developers' time for more added value work, it's incredibly enhanced by facilitating that shift. And extremely well in that, because it removes all those barriers that probably were in place when a shared development environment was established to begin with, where you have infrastructure limitations, you have the amount of man hours that were necessary to not only, like we discussed, like you said earlier, Kendra, like not only to refresh those environment, also to maintain it. So SQL provision removes all that and facilitates this whole new approach to database development.
Excuse me. The number one reason that people have put there, right, to increase speed of delivery of database changes.
That's my take on it.
But it can also increase the quality of the delivery of database changes. The reason why I say that is often either in waterfall or even agile systems, if your systems are not of the same structure, the same setup, they're not prod-like. How many times is your UAT or staging system completely different to prod?
Right.
And that, to me, is linked to, obviously, the third one, to reduce the risk of losing data. But in fact, I don't want to lose data, but I also don't want bugs being introduced into prod system. And so if there's some mechanism that I can quickly, efficiently automate the provisioning of a prod-like system, that's going to help the quality of my delivery. Because, we want to be fast-paced. We want to deliver value as quick as. But there's no point delivering value real quick if I'm delivering value that's full of bugs. And I want my staging, my pre-prod systems to be almost mirrored to what prod is.
Right. Yeah, I think it's not very obvious at all that automated provisioning can minimize application downtime. I've seen this happen. So for example, if we don't have automated provisioning, one of the things we typically do is use a very small data size in our development and QA environments. That's nothing like production. So we could be doing something like adding a new index or like changing a column in a table, and it goes really fast in QA, and it goes really fast, and then it gets to prod, and it takes a really long time and locks up the entire table, causes a big blocking storm, and to the customer, the system is unresponsive.
Yes.
It worked fine on my machine because my machine didn't have anything near that data set. So being able to efficiently provision this and not have to wait 2 weeks for my database and have something like production data not only helps me write an update script that's actually, I can verify does it actually update the right data, but also helps me know, is my change gonna lock something up for a long time, which is really crucial to know about a lot of systems, I think. So I think it really speaks to, in terms of like explaining to people what would this help us with, I think it actually speaks really well to all of these. And it really does kind of depend. Are you more worried about an outage, or are you more worried about freeing up developer time and increase, because it can actually, it will feed all of these in terms of improvements. Some people might just see this top one and be like, oh, it increases speed of delivery. It's just gonna make the bugs go faster.
And that's why
but it's not even about how.
Oh.
What I was going to say is that it's not about how fast you deliver. It's about having the ability to deliver it as soon as you are ready for it.
Yeah, and to deliver quality as soon as it's ready.
For sure.
Yes.
That's it.
Finding number 14 in the State of Database DevOps report made me real sad. Question number 14, they asked, what are you doing? And they asked it both, currently, what practices are presently in place for application, that's the left column, and for databases, that's the right column. And for automated provisioning, 37% are using it for application, so they can spin up web servers real fast. Wow. But only 19% are doing it for database. So my question for you is, why is this low, right? Like, I saw this 19% and I was just like, oh, why is this so low? It's so great to have automated provisioning, right? So why is this not a bigger thing? What is you guys' take on that?
Oh, honestly, for me, I believe it's to do with lack of awareness that automated provisioning is even a thing in the database worlds. Like any business that performs database changes on a development environment of any sorts would benefit dramatically from secret provisioning or any sorts of database automation, the provisioning automation, especially after noticing how extremely easy life becomes. So, which, by the way, I'm the one that can do that. I'm using the Redgate shirt. So if you're interested in everything that we're saying, you can just jump into our website. We can download secret provision, have a 14-day trial, and experience firsthand how easy, how intuitive, and how much your business is going to benefit, and how much of a hero you're going to look like after implementing all these fantastic solutions in on your own organization.
Yeah.
This is very unusual for a New Zealander to ever say this, but I'm going to do some role play, and I'm not going to laugh or anything. Okay.
Okay.
The key word here for me, I'm the grumpy DBA, and the reason why I'm a grumpy DBA is because everyone keeps dumping all this stuff on me. I've got to do these manual deploys. You want me to automate something? I haven't got enough time to write those scripts. I haven't got enough time because I'm not automating the deploys. Let me try and automate the deploys because I've got so much work on and I don't have time to write the scripts. And believe it or not, that role play is what I see out there. I talk with DBAs who are under pressure, and the reason they're under pressure is they don't have their database in source control. They don't have a true representation of the model of the database. So anytime a change is made, guess who they trust? No one except themselves. And so it's just this flow-on effect because I've got to check all this stuff because this is the first time I've seen the script. It's probably the first time the script has been run near anything like prod, i.e. I'm running it in prod. So I'm going to spend 4 hours going over something that I should have known about before. So that's part of the problem, is that I care about my database. I'm not a bad DBA, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to protect production. And so I will do all these manual steps because that is just second nature. I've got to protect it. And so ergo, when it comes to provisioning, oh man, I don't have enough time to try and write the script to automate the provisioning of it, because by the way, I have to write the script to provision this because it's prod data here. I can't trust anyone. I'm the gatekeeper of the data. And that's the problem. That's why people aren't using automated provisioning for databases, because they feel like the onus is on them to write this whole lot of stuff. And in fact, it's not so much about the provisioning, it's all the checks to do afterwards. It's ensuring, I've got a 500 gig database. I've got to make sure there's 500 gig free over here, because it's all about space, about where I'm provisioning. And so it's just a behemoth. And I feel that that's the holdback, that people are not embracing enough automation anyway, and provisioning falls under that umbrella of, I've got to do it.
Yeah. I'm working with this very, very smart DBA on a proof of concept right now. And she went and saw a demo of SQL provision and saw how it saves on space, can apply data masking to the images at the time of the image creation so that it's automatically in the clones, can solve a lot of these problems. And she realized, hey, if we have a data breach, a lot of that responsibility is mine, but she doesn't have a ton of time. So what she figured out she could do in her organization is start up the project and kind of lead the way in here, but also bring in a project manager who isn't a big tech person. That person isn't a DBA, but that person, because the truth is, to use SQL clone, you don't have to be super technical. Setting it up is not super hard. You need a sysadmin to help you set it up, right? But in terms of figuring out what is the data that should be masking and what policies do we want around the images, you can really task a business person with doing that. So the DBA team in this case is like, we really need to address this issue. We are the guardians of this. But then she's setting up the project in a way where she's a leader, but she's not actually doing all the work. Which I think is the smartest thing you can possibly do.
I love that for two reasons. One, it's really efficient, right? And two, it's collaborative. That's fantastic. That's
you're getting buy-in from all these different levels of the organization. It's fantastic.
And people on the business side should be understanding what is the nature of the data we're storing, what is its confidentiality levels, right? That isn't something that just people in the DBA team should own. That is a business problem to document and solve.
Sure.
Yeah. So she's a smarty. She's my hero. Pretty excited about her. It's a career builder, right? Being able to say that you championed this project and led this team to get this into place is just an amazing thing to get to put on your resume.
Yes, and it's a good use case to get out there to the community as well, because how many times do people get stuck in their own silo that they are the guardian, when in fact you are being guardian for the business, ergo work with the business and let them manage that part of it. That's good. Yeah.
And that way, every time a new field is added, you do not have to be a block in that process of figuring out what level of confidentiality does this column in this new table have. You can be looped in on it, you'll have access to the information, but it doesn't all have to flow through you, so you can go on vacation.